Recording in progress.
Welcome into the first episode, I guess day by day first episodes. We've already done some previews for French Ligue 1, including Olympique Lyonnais, the English Premier League, and the Spanish La Liga so far. But the season kicked off today. We'll be talking about Saturday matchups in the morning here in the United States, plus Sunday, plus Monday, and we'll get you ready to try to win some money on this opening weekend of the European soccer season. I'm the real _G Warner. You can find me at the real _G Warner on any social media platform, Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, YouTube. We went 55-23 in our best bets last year. I take one favorite pick. I select it, end of show. Today we'll be going through the English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Ligue 1 in France, and also the DFB Super Cup with the winner of the DFB Pokal tournament and the league winner Bayern München last weekend. But before we get to it, I want to give some time for people to get in here. But ultimately, we will be starting from scratch. And, it's tough to put that record on the line, but we're going to try to do it for this next season. So without further ado, I'll make sure I've already tweeted this out. I think that's right. And then I will get into this pretty much right about now. So let's start in the English Premier League because that's where the money is, as I know some of you might like when I say that aloud. And we'll start. We did have an opener with Liverpool and Bournemouth today, but the rest of the schedule is out and available. So let's get into it. We'll start with, I guess, we do have an early game. Aston Villa hosting Newcastle, two pretty competitive sides from years past. Currently, Aston Villa, a quarter goal favorite at home, a little bit more juice than Newcastle away. Total is 3, juiced all the way to under using BetOnline numbers going forward, as we have on this podcast for many, many years. But Aston Villa, a quarter goal favorite at home, pretty much is the home price that you pay for any sort of home team. Newcastle have looked great at times, far better at home than they are on the road. But you could say that about most teams in professional soccer. Aston Villa does not have Emiliano Martinez, their goalkeeper. He is suspended due to a red card, I believe, in the final match day of last season. It's weird that it carries over, but c'est la vie. And that does give me some pause on how Aston Villa defends. I think I throw out any sort of over-under here, though. Sometimes you could play by the strategy that opening weekends are going to be tough to find goals. Teams haven't congealed. They haven't really played together for any sort of meaningful minutes, clearly, because it's the opener. Newcastle is probably my biggest interest just based on solidarity. It doesn't look like Alexander Isak is going to suit up for Newcastle. He seems like he is on the move, but I'll lean to that quarter of a goal on Newcastle away from home. We'll move next to Brighton and Fulham in a big window at 10 a.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. in Central Time Zone, where I'm recording from Dallas, Texas, or nearby suburbs tonight. And Brighton currently half a goal favorite to Fulham at home. Totals 2 3/4. She's pretty heavily to under. Now, this is a big question for Fabian Hosler, the manager, second year at Brighton, only 32 years old, very, very young, but bright future. Led St. Pauli to the German Bundesliga top division. Fulham have a lot of solidarity. They usually start seasons well. And then once they see that they're safe, they don't really play very well second half. We could see that again here. I'm not necessarily sure that's the case. But I think Brighton have really proven that they're not that special of a team. They're great at building and selling off players and getting real talented clubs. But João Pedro's gone to Chelsea. Many, many others. Baleba looks like as a central midfielder, he might be moving to Manchester United. Fulham is a half a goal underdog is interesting to me. And I feel like, honestly, I don't know that I trust Fulham to score a ton of goals, so I'm leaning to under 2 3/4 there as well. Would love to get a 3, don't have it. We'll move on next to Tottenham hosting Burnley. Currently Tottenham goal and a quarter favorite. Almost all the juice on Burnley away, newly promoted back to the Premier League. Totals 2 3/4, just a little bit more to under. I think there's a lot of questions about Burnley. They haven't really spent a lot of money. They don't have their star former Manchester City defender as manager anymore. Scott Parker is decent in his pitch. Has been on the Premier League pitch before as a player and as a manager. But Tottenham, you could argue that they might be a little bit tired from their performance in, I believe it was Udine in Eastern Italy midweek in the Super Cup of the UEFA Super Cup. But also a 2-0 lead into stoppage time, it seemed, and then, or near stoppage time, and then going to penalties and losing there. Pretty brutal. We'll see how they bounce back. probably is a win. It probably should work out for them at home, especially playing a newly promoted. But if anything here for me, I think I'm interested in the goal and a quarter on the underdog. Sunderland, speaking of newly promoted teams, they're back in the Premier League. They're a home underdog of a quarter goal to West Ham United. More juice than Sunderland, totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. West Ham under Graham Potter stabilized, I guess, but really just the newly promoted sides from last season were so bad they're all going down anyway. I'm not really a believer in what I've seen from West Ham, especially not as a road favorite. It's tough to trust Sunderland, as I don't think they're very good. I don't think what they've done to build the team with Mark Yu coming in from Chelsea. I'm not sure he's going to start because as a recent transfer. Omar Alderete, same sort of story. Kyle Walker, I think he's back there. Sunderland, I could be mistaken, but ultimately, I'm pretty concerned of what that's going to look like. I think home underdog and under are where I'm leaning, but I would like to pass. So move next to Wolves and Manchester City, the nightcap on Saturday. Wolverhampton, a 1.25 goal underdog at home. Total is 3, juiced very heavily to under. Manchester City, they were so bad last season. Still have a lot of faith. I think they're third most likely to win the Premier League based on odds coming into the season. I'm not sure I'm a believer, to be frank, but not Thomas Frank, as he's coaching an early matchup, but Wolverhampton goal and a quarter underdog at home is my biggest interest, under 3 as well as a way to fade the Manchester City offense. Move to Sunday, Nottingham Forest hosting Brentford. Currently Forest, a quarter goal favorite at home with almost all the juice. Totals 2.25, juice all the way to over. Brentford, they look like a serious relegation candidate if there was ever one to be relegated from the Premier League, and that huge advantage of playing in that position in that league and having all the money to spend from, I guess, collecting it. Brentford look like a dangerous team. You could argue Nottingham Forest are unlikely to perform the way they did in last season's incredible run, though they kind of faltered or fell off at the end. Nottingham Forest sold Anthony Elanga to Newcastle United, so clearly they've lost some pieces. I think under is the biggest interest for me in this game, though Brentford's defense was not great last season. Move next to Chelsea hosting Crystal Palace in that same 9 a.m. Eastern time window on Sunday morning here in the United States. Chelsea 3.25 goal. Chelsea is a 3/4 goal favorite, easy for me to say, at home with all the juice. Total is 3, just all the way to under. I'll be waiting to see if Crystal Palace move to a 1-goal underdog. I'm not necessarily a believer in Chelsea. Club World Cup didn't do enough. A lot of new places, new faces, all these sort of things. Crystal Palace, until they sell Mark Gahey and Eberechi Eze, I'm backing them, believing that they have a way to kind of grow into what they did last season. Probably less interested in under than I am in the side. I'd love to get Crystal Palace at a full goal of insurance, but we don't have that yet. To the nightcap on Sunday in England, Manchester United, a 0.5 goal underdog at home to Arsenal. All the juice there, totals 2.75, juice pretty heavily to under. Arsenal's been getting a bet. I'm not really sure if that's from any signings that have occurred, but I think they're a much better team. I don't believe in any sort of love for Manchester United. The only thing I could look to is Manchester United potentially playing a really low-scoring game because they don't really have much offense, but I think I'd rather play unders Manchester United when they are the favorite. Last but not least, go to Monday. Leeds, a 1/4 goal favorite at home to Everton. Totals 2.25, juiced all the way to over. All the juices on the Everton side. I like Everton at this point. I think that they've proven it. Clearly, they've stayed in the Premier League while Leeds were getting relegated. I need to see it. Leeds crowd will be great, especially for a return to the Premier League, though it hasn't been as long as it was the last time they came back. Lean to under as well on any David Moyes road matchup because, as they say, they don't go on the road to entertain. So that is the English Premier League on this August 15th, getting you ready for the rest of the weekend. For my best bet in the English Premier League, I'm going to go with, I was kind of poo-pooing it, I got to say, for part of my discussion. But Sunderland, I'll take them under 2.5 goals at home for West Ham United. Just don't really see the road favorite scoring much in that matchup. We'll move next to La Liga in Spain. We'll start, as we have a lot of afternoon matches going all the way to Tuesday. We'll start with Mallorca hosting Barcelona. Currently, Mallorca 1.25 underdog at home. All the juice in Barcelona. Total is 3, juiced all the way to under. I'm not playing unders with Barcelona until further notice. I will say Mallorca have been really good at home for years, but there's a lot of thinking that I need to do about what their defense looks like because they have sold some pieces. We need to make sure that Valiant is starting and Dominic Grief in goal, but should be the case. but it's not great if you don't like under on a team that doesn't score much as a home underdog of this size. We move next to Alaves hosting Levante. Currently, Alaves quarter goal favorites, so almost all the juice to the newly promoted Levante. Total is 2, juice all the way to under. I'm not a believer in Alaves. Levante's defense has not been great, but that was a couple seasons ago when they're in La Liga. I saw them actually concede 5 goals on the road at Sevilla, scored 3 themselves, and it was a very entertaining match, but a very hot day, and probably got sunburned worse today somehow than I did then. With all that said, Alaves at home has been pretty good. I'm not sure that I believe that they deserve to be a favorite to many teams. Levante is probably one of them, but I'll be waiting to see what happens with number. And I'll lean to under 2, though I probably need to see a little bit from Levante's defense before getting involved. Same time, simultaneous kickoff, Valencia, a pick'em at home to Real Sociedad. Total is 2, juice more to the under. All the juice on Valencia, probably climbing to a quarter goal favorite. Real Sociedad lost their manager, lost a lot of pieces, including their best central defensive midfielder. I think Valencia will be better this year, but I don't really play favorites, so I'll wait to see what happens with this pick'em. If it climbs to a quarter of a goal, I'll be leaning towards Sociedad, but I think really lean to under, though I want to see what the team plays like under the new manager. Moving to Sunday, Celta de Vigo has Getafe. Currently, Celta, a 3-quarter goal favorite at home. More juice on Getafe away from home. Total is 2, and it is juiced heavily to over, which is a big surprise anytime Getafe are involved. So I'll lean to under 2. I don't really want to play them because I'm not sure they're going to score, but lean to under as I do in every Getafe match if Pepe Bordalas is the manager. Next, we'll go to Athletic Club hosting Sevilla. Currently, Athletic Club, a 1-goal favorite. All the juice on Sevilla away. Total is 2.25, juice almost all the way to over. From everything I've seen, Nico Williams is sticking around at Athletic Club. I think that's huge for them, especially as they enter Champions League from a long time away. Sevilla have been, I guess, improving, but they pretty much were circling the drain the last few seasons. I don't trust them. The only thing I think I could trust, although they've changed managers, is a low-scoring game because that's the only chance Sevilla will have. Hard to see that in an opener and against a tough crowd at San Mamés, but Bilbao certainly is not known for seeing a ton of goals in the Catedral. To the nightcap on Sunday, we have Espanyol hosting Atletico Madrid. Currently, Espanyol, a 1-goal underdog with all the juice. Totals 2.25, juice pretty heavily to under. Now, Espanyol are replacing their goalkeeper, and that's a big problem. But Atletico Madrid have been really struggling since, I don't know, Christmas time, or at least the early second half of last season. Didn't go well in the Club World Cup. They also, I guess they played more minutes together, but I'm not sure that learning how to play with each other worked very well, especially with a lot of players leaving. Certainly lean to Espanyol, good home team, and I see them playing a slow, low-scoring game, so lean to Espanyol and under. Moving to Monday in the nightcap, we have Elche hosting Real Betis. Elche recently promoted. They're a quarter-goal underdog at home with more juice. Totals 2.25, just more to the over. Real Betis are not a strong, dominant team, but they keep finding ways into Europe every year, it seems. Made it all the way to the Conference League final last season. Elche are going to have to do a lot of proving. I'll lean to the home underdog, but I'm not sure they'll make it onto the card in that opener. To Tuesday, Real Madrid hosting Osasuna. Currently, Real Madrid a 1.75 goal favorite. More juice on Osasuna away. Total is 3, just a little bit more to under. I'm not a believer in this Real Madrid team. They need to show it. I don't like their new manager and Xabi Alonso. Sell whatever he did at Bayer Leverkusen. The problem is Osasuna have gotten pretty weak. They've changed managers. We'll see what happens with the team this year. I think I need a 2 to play them at a minimum, and the 3 as a total looks a little bit dangerous if they fall behind early or they score a goal themselves. For my best bet in the Spanish La Liga, I'm going to go to a Sunday matchup, and I will go to the nightcap, Espanyol, a 1-goal underdog at home to Atletico Madrid. Now we'll move to Ligue 1 in France, and then we'll get to the German Bundesliga's Supercopa de Germany, or the German Super Cup. So let's move right now to Ligue 1 in France. We'll start with Lens hosting Lyon, as I wear their practice kit from a few years ago. A lot of years ago now, actually. It's getting old, just like myself. And hopefully you. We'll move to Lens hosting Lyon. Currently, Lens a quarter-goal favorite. All the juice on Lyon away. Totals 2.75, juice all the way to over. Lyon have had a lot of sales to try to make back some money, and were in big financial trouble, and might have even got a penalty relegation with their hated rivals Saint-Etienne down to Ligue 2. But it has not happened. They're still here. Lean to Lens, the home favorite, but I don't like those. I'll be waiting to see them fall to pick them. And I don't really have a great feel for the total here, as Lyon are goal-scoring teams, but Alexander Lacazette is gone. Monaco then hosts Le Havre. Currently, Monaco 1.75 goal favorite. More juice than Le Havre away. Totals 3.25. Juice very heavily to under. Monaco are not really the best home team because they don't have much of a crowd. Le Havre are going to go in there and try to defend. If they score, that really puts the total in danger, but it certainly helps the side. I'll lean to Le Havre getting 1.75 goals. Would love to get 2 and lean to under. Those things clearly correlated, and you got to decide if you want to go all the way in with Le Havre side that are playing a pretty famous group of Monaco players, Ansu Fati from Barcelona and Paul Pogba from everywhere coming into the side this season. To the nightcap on Saturday, Nice host Toulouse. Currently Nice quarter goal favorite with all the juice. Total is 2.5, juice all the way to under. Toulouse have been great against better competition. We'll see if they can continue that for another season. They lost a lot more in terms of talent, I thought, last season with Costa and Thijs Stalinga going, but we'll see what they can do this year. I'll lean to the road underdog. I probably want more than just a quarter, so we'll see what that ends up getting to before kickoff. And don't really like an under here because Nice have been a goal-scoring team, scored a ton last season, much to surprising to me with a very defensive manager coming in. But we'll see if he gets his way this year. Moving to Sunday, let's go to Stade Brestois hosting Lille. Currently, Brest, a quarter goal underdog at home with almost all the juice. Totals 2.5, juice a little bit more to over. Lille were a goal-scoring team. Jonathan David has left, their striker, but he scored a ton of penalty goals. So I actually don't think that'll be that big of a problem. But I do like what Brest has done. We'll see what they can do because they've lost a lot of pieces, don't have that Champions League revenue in their pockets any longer. Don't think I want to play an under with Lille at this point. So lean to just Brest as a quarter goal underdog. Angers then hosts Paris Football Club de Paris. They are not Paris Saint-Germain, but they are a Paris-based club coming up from Segunda or the Ligue 2 last season. Angers currently a pick'em with almost all the juice. Totals 2.25, just more to the under. I'm going to side with what I thought was a great moneymaker last season in Angers. Like them at a pick'em, especially if it closes there on Sunday. Angers then hosts Lorient in the same time zone, time window. Angers quarter goal favorites, all the juice on Lorient away, newly promoted, totals 2.5, and it's juice more to under. Angers are still alive, still here in the top flight. Wasn't really expected from them now, I think 2 years in a row. Lorient have had some talent building teams in the past, but all those well-known players seem to have left. I'm not sure I want the road underdog at this price just yet. Football Club de Metz then hosts Strasbourg in a huge rivalry in Eastern France. Strasbourg were a big reason that Metz got relegated a couple seasons ago, but Metz fought their way back in, and Metz are a quarter goal underdog at home with a little bit more juice. Totals 2.5, juice more to the over. Strasbourg spent a lot of money. They are a Chelsea feeder club, essentially taking off some of those contracts or development side. Manager stuck around, and Metz are coming up from the second division. So we'll see what that looks like. I'll lean to Metz as a quarter goal underdog. Like them in their barrages, as it's called, in the relegation playoff to get back to Ligue 1. And last but not least, Nantes hosts PSG. I'll lean to Nantes as a 1.5 goal underdog. Totals 3.25, juice very heavily to under. A little more juice on Nantes at home. PSG coming off that midweek, comeback victory in stoppage time and in penalties to win the Super Cup, the UEFA Super Cup version. Nantes have changed managers, though, and I probably need to see it before I get too involved with it, but I'll lean to the big underdog at home. Don't really know that I want to fade PSG so much, even though there's probably some value in it after winning everything last season. In terms of a best bet from the Ligue 1, I will go with, let's see, where will I go with best bet? I think I'm going to go with, I'll go with Angers at home as a pick'em. I really just like the setup for a newly promoted team. Yes, spending some money, but Angers to me are the stalwart and one that wasn't getting a lot of respect last season. Anyway, to the last match we'll discuss on this episode, and that is the German Super Cup. We'll go with Stuttgart. They are, I believe, at home, actually, for this matchup. They're a 1-goal underdog to Bayern München. Totals 3.25. Juice more to the over. All the juice on Bayern right now. I'm going to be waiting to see if Stuttgart move to a bigger underdog, but I'll lean to the +1 right now. I've kind of learned the hard way, unless you really have a defensive idea or plan or strategy or skill set against Bayern. It's really tough to play unders there. So for my best bet in the German portion of this show, in the DFB Super Cup, I'm going to go with Stuttgart as a 1-goal underdog. So that brings us to the end of the show. A little bit of an abridged version, considering we have two leagues that are playing cup play, and that is Italy and Germany. But we'll see what ends up happening with all that sort of stuff as we get down the line. I do want to shout out some recent YouTube subscribers. Thank you to Alina Rodal and also to Cedric Vidal for coming in. Cedric Vidal Hopi too. I guess there's two different versions, but thank you for your support. Welcome to the new Patreon subscribers as well. I probably need to get that and shout you all out as well, because it's very, very important to me. Thank you for the support there. Kevin Welsh, thank you for coming back, of course. And Kelvin, thank you for joining. Probably have others to shout out as well. Peter Robbins, thank you for coming around. And would love to, of course, see more of you on patreon.com/real_G Warner. The best place to get all my plays across all sports. Baseball has been really hot after a really tough March and April. We have the NFL coming up, college football, of course, and the soccer 365 days of a year almost, or maybe just a month off in the summer. But we're back. We're going to it. We're getting after it. And we're going to win some money and increase our bankrolls as we go to then throw it into college football and eventually college basketball and all these sort of things, as the idea is to try to grow our wealth as we move forward. So it's time for the ultimate best bet portion of the show. So I'll get into that. I'm going to be doing some different type of announcements on Instagram.com/thereal_G Warner, also on YouTube and the shorts variety. But from the English Premier League, I took out Sunderland under 2.5 goals. In La Liga in Spain, I like Espanyol, a 1-goal underdog. In Ligue 1 in France, I like Angers, a pick'em. And the DFB Super Cup, I like Stuttgart, a 1-goal underdog at home to Bayern München. But for the ultimate best bet on this episode, we had a great run last year, great record. Like I said earlier, we were a pretty stellar 50-23, 68% year to date. I'm not promising that again, but certainly shooting for it. I'm going to go with the best bet on this episode. I think it's just not really believing in a new team that's coming into the league and not getting any sort of respect really to a stalwart, a team that's been around. And I thought a team that impressed me and made a lot of money last season. And that is Angers in the French Ligue 1. They are pick 'em at home. Take that. And we'll be back next week for more action on the Betting the Pitch soccer version of the podcast. Go check me out, patreon.com/real_G Warner, any sort of social media at @thereal_G Warner, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for joining you. Anyone who's live tonight, I appreciate it. If you want to throw some comments here in the future, I'll make sure to read them, but I'll also be at home. That might be a little bit easier for me to manage.
Recording stopped.